Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.
Hi, and welcome to the very first Life with Lisa Bradshaw show. I just want to let you know right off the bat, this show is not about my life, it's about your life. It's about the people living in our community. Today's guest is Jenny Pratt. She is the Executive Director of the YWCA. 60 years of service in our community, the YWCA is celebrating. It offers critical housing services to homeless women, children, and families, and offers comprehensive homeless housing services that include education, job training, and a whole lot of other things that many of us may not know about. So we'll talk with Jenny and get the details about the service, 60 years in our community, and also talk about their upcoming fundraiser on the Life with Lisa Bradshaw show in just a moment.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.
Hi, we're back with Life with Lisa Bradshaw show. We have Jenny Pratt here today. She's the Executive Director of the YWCA. She's going to give us a bit of information that probably most of us don't know about the community service that they provide and the services they provide to homeless people, women and children and families right here in our community, as well as talk about their upcoming fundraiser. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me in.
So 60 years of service right here in our community?
Right here in Wenatchee.
Wow. So I was interested when I was reading about the YWCA. I'm familiar, but I think a lot of people aren't familiar with, I'm about probably like the people who are watching. I know a little bit about it, but I didn't realize the vast services that you guys provide. But what I first want to talk about is the 60-year span, and what was it like 60 years ago compared to now? That's a big question, but what was it like in the beginning?
A group of women, entrepreneurial for their time, got together and saw a need for women to band together and formed a women's group that later became the YWCA. In short, and programs over the 60-year span. We, of course, are celebrating the 60 years, so we've had the opportunity to go through some of our historical information.
Right.
It's quite enlightening for me. I've been around 16 years now at the YWCA. And,
wow, that's an accomplishment in itself. So what was the very first program? What was the need that they saw? Why did they band together the way they did?
They, locally here in Wenatchee, they had a lot of, I say it used to be a social organization. Women, one thing we noticed that all women were referenced as Mrs. Mrs. whoever, Mrs.
Smith,
Mrs. Bradley Smith,
yes,
or they didn't have a first name in reference in the press and in those things.
Hard to imagine, but yes.
Yes, as people are reading through those historical documents, they're taken aback, especially the young women now that are reading those things. But they had clubs for women whose YW Wives Club, which was their husbands were in service, and so they got together at the YWCA and they had bonds and friendships and supported one another. Through the years, there's been bridge clubs, there's been theater groups, there has been youth programs, and now in this time we have switched from social to a social service organization.
And when did that transition happen? And what was going on in our community that need was there?
I think that probably more than 25 years ago, homelessness became an issue. We haven't got into those critical services in just till the last decade. And that's really when homelessness came onto the scene about 25 years ago.
So just transition from being a social place, so kind of like how we play bunco these days,
Yeah.
or maybe we meet for wine and cheese and
Yeah,
solve the world's problems.
all the fun things, Scrabble nights. You know, the
Right.
Y had the first lunch counter in the community back in the day when women packed their husbands' lunches and people did not go out to lunch. And so our little cafe in the lower level of the YWCA was the first public lunch counter in the community.
Wow.
So really a big change.
And didn't you guys revamp that a few years back?
Yeah, we had a program that ran in there for a bit.
So you figure out what works. Some
Yes.
things work in our community and some don't. And so
Yes.
over the 16 years, you've seen a lot of what does work. So when we're talking about the women's right to vote, all of those things, 60 years, so they were part of a lot of that. And how much influence did they have right here in our community in terms of, you know, we're seeing a lot of marching, we're seeing a lot of people being vocal about their opinions and about their politics, which we won't hardly ever talk about on this show. But tell us a bit about what that group of women that grew, how did they influence the outcomes for people here in our community?
The Y locally, even though we're celebrating 60 years, we're an infant in YW world. YWCA national organization is going to be 160 years
Oh, my
old here
goodness.
shortly.
Wow,
And
I
so
know
was at
that.
the forefront of
Right.
all of the civil rights movement, equal rights for women, the right to vote, all of those things on down the line until today. And the national organization has been active in those ways. Now, our local organization, up until recently, I have seen no evidence that our organization has been actively involved in those types of activities here locally.
Right. So then over the 16 years that you've been there, so tell me about some of the programs that are offered right now. We're going to watch a video in the next segment that really, it's a long video, but it's worth watching because I could not articulate it any better than that video does. So tell us a little bit about the things that I was least aware of, the homeless remedies you have, the shelters that you have, the transition into, you know, productive, active lives for women and children in our community. Tell us about that, because that's something I think is really remarkable.
Sure. We at the YWCA offer quite a full complement of homeless services, emergency shelter for women and children.
Define homelessness, because sometimes that's
there are several
right.
definitions depending on the funder.
From your
Not currently.
organization's point of view.
From our point of view, homeless is they have no constant place to stay. They are within 14 days of becoming homeless. We consider those folks homeless. So if they're in an apartment, they've been evicted or going to be evicted, those are homeless.
So they might be
homeless.
staying couch to couch with friends, but that's still homeless because they don't have a home of their own. They're not necessarily sleeping on the streets quite yet.
Yes, but there are plenty.
Some that are.
Yeah, there are plenty.
And what does that transitional service look like?
Well, emergency shelter is the first point of entry typically, and that's a 90-day program for the YWCA and most other shelters here. And that means you can stay up to 90 days, and then
that's
you
a
have
long
to
time.
move on.
Right.
It's a very short
But
period
you
of
don't
time.
just provide a bed and food, you provide tools for them to make that a real transition point
Yes,
for them.
we at the YWCA have a pretty strict program with requirements. They have to be clean and sober. They need to be ready to work and change their lives and take care of whatever issues brought them to us in the first place.
Right.
And then after shelter, then we can go into transitional housing where women and children again can stay with us at the Y up to 1 year. And
So that's a different place,
it
location
is,
entirely.
It is a different, separate location, and it is always full.
Oh.
And we always need more. We never have enough beds. We always have a waiting list.
So you do have to turn people away.
Always, yeah, for all of it. And permanent housing is the final
ultimate
step.
goal.
The ultimate goal is to have everyone permanently housed.
So
and
really it could be a year and 90 days. But they
Yes.
could move out in that year's
Yes,
time.
then
They
we
don't
can
have to
move
stay
them.
a whole year, but whatever their timeline is.
Yeah, we could move them from, you know, the full-time line to permanent housing with us would be, you're right, up to 1 year and 90 days if they stayed with us that entire time.
So being part of this for 16 years, and you say in the last decade or so is when we've really seen homelessness in the Wenatchee Valley, approximately, or 20, did you say 25?
Back in the late 80s, 90s, or when homelessness became a real issue here.
So you've been part of that solution for yourself, working with the YWCA for 16 years.
Yeah.
What have you seen? What have the changes have you seen in the women that have come through and what you're offering?
We continue to see more and more clients every year. For example, last year we served 25% more homeless women and children. And when you look at the numbers across the board, on the same budget. And I mentioned earlier we went from a social club or group where women might play bridge and get together and have tea, and that was a socially and affluent group. Mm-hmm. And now we serve a social group that's in crisis, and they have no ability to help us support them. And so that's where the real change has come in our approach to how our organization works.
Well, I would imagine it's just like anything else. You offer it up, and some people embrace it and run with it and utilize every bit of your program to help them succeed, and then there's probably some that still aren't quite ready.
Yes.
And you have to deal with that as well.
Yes.
But it's specifically for women and children. So if there's a couple with children, that isn't the place for them.
Then we work with them to try to find appropriate placement. We do house men in our permanent housing. In our other programs, we have communal aspects, and so the men mix in with women doesn't actually work in those programs.
Right. So then when they have this transitional time, I'd imagine, even trying to figure out what social services they qualify for, those are all things that you help with. Making sure that when they transition into, they can make sure that their light bill is paid, their utilities are paid, if they have a phone, how to hook that up, or what services are available for that.
It's definitely an ongoing process from point of entry to point of exit, and sometimes beyond.
Right.
Many who become in crisis after they've left us and still fall back for more support, either just a chat or a visit, and sometimes a second stay.
And some of them join your team, like Christina.
And some of them join our team.
What a nice segue.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back and we're going to talk with Christina. She is participated through the program. We're going to watch a video that has her story as well as a few others, and dive a little deeper into those services and how they are changing lives here in Wenatchee Valley. We'll be back in just a moment on Life with Lisa Bradshaw.
Are you wanting high-speed internet but don't have access to PUD fiber? Try Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet from LocalTel. Call 888-8888 today.
Hi, we're back with Life with Lisa Bradshaw. We are talking with Jenny Pratt, Executive Director of YWCA, celebrating 60 years of service right here in our community. We're also going to be talking with Christina Fry. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
She's got a remarkable story. We're going to play this video. Tell us a little bit about the making of this video. I wanted to play it. It's 7 minutes, but it's intriguing and captivating, and I don't think we could cover what it covers just in conversation.
Yeah, just to set the video up, it was raw testimonials from 3 different clients, and the crew that made the video for us, they did the selection of what they were going to use. We gave them total creative license, and it turned out to be a wonderful and beautiful story that we are able to share with people when they come and visit and tour our building each month. And I have seen it probably hundreds of times, and I still get goosebumps every time.
Yeah. I wanted to, I watched a bit of it, I watched all of it a bit ago when we talked about having you on the show, but I didn't watch it over and over because I wanted to see it when everybody sees it now. And Christina is in the video, and that's why she's here to talk with us. And the video was shot a little over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago.
Yes.
So we'll be able to update you on Christina's life now after watching the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at it.
My name is Christina Fry, and my current occupation is I'm a customer service rep for Allstate Insurance at Brad Huddle's agency. Had about 25-year history with chemicals and run-ins with the law, in and out of different shelters, missions, treatment centers, mental health facilities, and not a lot of success. I have tried just about every means possible: psychiatry, medicine, religion, everything I could think of to try to address my issues, and always something was lacking. I arrived at the Y in July of 2011, fresh out of my 14th treatment center, and didn't have a lot of hope.
Shanda, manager at the 76 gas station. Moved over here last year. My fiance went to prison. I was staying with my sister in Bridgeport, and she kicked me out. Stayed with my mom. She gave me a couple of weeks to stay with her. Couldn't find anywhere to rent.
My name is Tina Marie Bryce. I'm disabled, and I came to the Y in 2010, May of 2010. I was homeless since I was 8 years old, and I have 6 kids. 3 are in California and 3 got taken away from me.
In the first 90 days I was there, I focused mainly on my aftercare program from treatment. I met on a weekly basis with the case manager. We went over my goals for the week, the things that I was going to accomplish, some of the obstacles and barriers that I was facing. You know, I had to walk everywhere. I had a lot of backed up legal and financial issues. I had dug myself in a very deep hole.
And was scared about coming here because it's a shelter. They've got a bad stigma. I didn't want my kids to be judged starting a new school, and finally I decided to call Shavana. I talked to her, and she got me into an apartment over here, and I've been here for about a year now.
Since I've been here at the YWCA, they helped me. This is a wonderful program, and they helped me out a lot. And I volunteered at the store, helped them set up with a lot of things and everything, and
Successfully completed the 90-day program, and literally, I think to the hour on the 90th day, I moved across the street into one of their studio apartments. The folks at the Y, they believed in me probably more than I did. In fact, I'm sure they did.
And now I could say, I've been clean and sober almost going on 7 years, and God blessed me with people around me right now that it's family right here for me, because I don't have no family.
Shavana and the Y, they treat you like you're a person, not like a bum off the street or a tweaker or whatever. They give you the family atmosphere, the feeling of being wanted. It's nice.
When I arrived at the YWCA in 2011, I had put myself in such a hole, and legally, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, I didn't think I could come out. Today, I have done a 180-degree turnaround. I live independently in a beautiful apartment. I drive a car that's paid for. I have auto insurance. I'm working on a degree. I have life insurance. I am purchasing a burial plan. These are all things that the Y taught me to do.
When you hear of a shelter, you think, especially for people who've never been around a shelter setting, you think it's like, people off the corner just coming and staying on a couch or a cot for the night or something. And here it's not that way. They don't let druggies come in. They try and make everything as safe as possible. Like this place is the total opposite of what shelters are stigmatized with. So I love this place.
I thank God for the YWCA. They help you with training. They help you with everything what you need, and they open the doors to you, and I guess that's it. And I could just say, this is the better place where a woman or women with kids could come, because there's no other shelter around here that could do what the YWCA could do.
And now I am a member of the community who gets to give back, who gets to support, and each person that comes through the Y has that potential to become that person. And that only took place because of dollars that were donated, time that was spent, and people who cared. I strongly urge anyone who's looking to invest in something and really watch it move forward to consider the YWCA has that choice of charity, because these people aren't just giving handouts, they're restoring people's dignity and their character, and they're giving them a new life.
I love that video. It's so well done. And one of the things that you did a great job on that video. One of the things that I noticed, or heard them talk about the most, is the family that's there, the woman who doesn't have any family. So it becomes a family, right?
In many ways.
Offering.
Most definitely.
And so let's talk a bit about your story. You talked about it in the video, so we know that you were on hard times, and you went there in 2011. How has your life changed since you moved across the street, and then now that you're, and lead up to you actually working with them?
It's been radical. That's a really good word for it. You know, from the time that I became independently off-site and living on my own till now, you know, I've almost completed a degree. I have a career. I'm licensed to sell insurance. I'm rebuilding my credit. I'm so close to being able to be looked at for my first time purchasing a home. You know, I just bought a brand new car. My family's being restored. There's a lot of things that aren't about material that are happening that I can't even articulate.
You talked about your dignity.
Yeah. Dignity, giving back, coming from a place where you're full and you can give and share your testimony, give hope, and just really get out there and let people know that they can change their lives. You know? So
you went there, you probably, I mean, you talked about a lot of financial things in your past. You used this gesture.
It was horrible.
Like it was way back there. You don't want to think about it. So I mean, that is an overwhelming thing for people, because a lot of times there are financial hardships in addition to just paying rent and other things. There's a lot of financial things that go into it. So you're able to rebuild your credit, rebuild your life, rebuild your dignity, like you said, and start over.
One of the things that I feel really makes the YWCA stand out, because you can give somebody a place to sleep, you can feed them. But if you just do those things, it's very easy to slip back into the reasons that you failed before.
Ended up there in the first place.
And those financial hardships and those...
not learning how to manage your money and not get in that situation all over again.
Or the overwhelming plan when it starts all coming at you and you're like, this isn't worth it, I can't do it. And they provide all of those things to keep you up above water while you get to where you need to be.
I would imagine that there's like a list of things that have to be done. Maybe not every day, but you know, this is what I need to get done this week in order to achieve that goal that's a month off. And I can't imagine what it's like when you have all that weight on you, that you would need that assistance, you would need that help. And someone smart like yourself who's willing to take it. You know, you talked about how some people aren't really quite ready, but you were. So.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I can't say enough about how they've changed my life. And that's why I truly want to just be here, be an ambassador, celebrate 60 years of everything that they've been doing in our community. And
let's talk about that. So you have an event coming up You said that 25%, you spent 25% more on services in 2016 on the same budget you had before.
We
So
served
you need-
25% more people
Right,
on
right,
the
more
same,
people.
actually less money than we did in years before.
So
And-
you're needing some support.
Yes.
And you have the Orange Carpet Affair coming up, a fundraising dinner, entertainment, on Friday, March 24th at the Red Lion. So talk about that.
Yeah, Friday, March 24th. It's hors d'oeuvres and cocktails, retro styled. It's going to be fun, live entertainment, a short program, a special guest, just a lot of historical information. We'll have all of our things displayed. We're going to have Emma Jean Wells' silver tea service on display among 60 years of treasures. And so it's a great time to come out and see the historical value of the YWCA and to support our current critical services.
And those tickets for hors d'oeuvres, the entertainment, and the no-host bar with the live entertainment you talked about and the special guests, how much are the tickets and where can people buy them?
Tickets are $50. You can get them online at the YWCA Facebook page, and that's YWCA NCW. And there's a link there. You can just click into the link and purchase your tickets. It'll send you an email, and you can print your electronic tickets. Or you can contact Christina or any of our other table captains if you happen to know one. If you don't, you can always go to the YWCA store on the avenue at 231 North Wenatchee Avenue, and they're selling tickets there 7 days a week.
So lots of ways to get tickets and
Yes.
support the organization. I'll be there.
Wonderful.
That's my favorite idea of a date night, is going to a fundraiser like that.
Mine too.
Spending money well, having a few cocktails, getting fed, and supporting
Yeah.
your community. It's
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do.
Win-win.
Yeah, I know, win-win, win-win.
Win-win.
All right, thanks for being here again. To get more information about the Orange Carpet Affair, YWCA's fundraiser for the year, visit their Facebook page, YWCA NCW. And you can get tickets all those other places we've mentioned. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for sharing your story. I
You bet.
appreciate you being willing to come and do that.
Thank you. Anytime.
All right.
Thank
Well, I'll be back next week, and I would encourage you to get in touch with me if you have show ideas or you want to talk about the shows you've seen so far. Well, this is the first one. So be kind if you happen to send me an email.
Really
it's
kind.
Lisa@ncwlife.com.
For all the latest news in North Central Washington, go to ncwlife.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-2020.